Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rekha Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And so, today, we're going to go into the book of 2 Kings, the 14th chapter. And as we read in the 13th chapter, right, dealing with a few kings that we read about here, the Joash of the northern kingdom, of the southern kingdom, right? We also read about the death of Elisha, and ultimately the mercy the Lord had upon the northern kingdom by delivering them from the hands of the Syrians. Okay, so moving into the 14th chapter, let me also pull up this timeline here. There we go. I think this was the one here. And maybe I'll just bookmark this for reference. But yeah, so let me just pull this up. Let's get into it. So this is 2 Kings 14, verse 1. In the second year of Joash, son of Jehoahaz, king of Israel, reigned Amaziah, the son of Joash, king of Judah. So you have the Joash, son of Jehoahaz, right, king of Israel, which would be on this side. Let me actually zoom in a little bit. Cool, perfect. So we had Jehu, right, whose son was Jehoahaz, and Jehoahaz's son was Joash. So basically, as we're reading of here in 2 Kings 14, we're dealing with these two kings mainly, right? We're dealing here with Joash of the northern kingdom, and we're dealing with Amaziah, the son of Joash of the southern kingdom. So that's what it's saying here, right? In the second year of Joash, king of the northern kingdom, Amaziah, who was the son of the Joash of the southern kingdom, began to reign. So dealing with Amaziah, he was 25 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jehonadab of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord Yahweh, yet not like David his father. He did according to all things as Joash his father did. So he did what was right in the sight of the Lord, but his heart wasn't fully after the Lord as King David was, right? So you can imagine, he was good, but not as good as how David was, put it like that. Similar to how Joash, made sure that the temple was built and followed the ways of the Lord, but for example, the high places were not taken away, right? So those groves and areas in which you still had wicked Israelites serving and worshiping weren't taken away, though these kings weren't directly engaging in those activities either. Okay, howbeit the high places were not taken away, as yet the people did sacrifice and burnt offering or burnt incense on the high places, and usually this wouldn't be to the Lord. And it came to pass, as soon as the kingdom was confirmed in his hand, that he slew his servants, which had slain the king his father, and this being Amaziah. Right now, remember, we read in the previous chapter that you had two of Joash of the southern kingdom, two of his servants ended up conspiring and slaying him, putting him to death. All right, so it was so that when his son Amaziah came up into power, and as it says, once he officially was in the power seat, he had those two servants put to death for having murdered or conspired against his father. But the children of the murderers he slew not, according unto that which is written in the book of the law of Moses, wherein the Lord Yahweh commanded, saying, the fathers shall not be put to death for the children, nor the children be put to death for the fathers, but every man shall be put to death for his own sin. And I believe that is also reiterated in the book of Ezekiel, right? As the Lord says, you will pay for your own sins, right? Your children will not pay for your iniquity, and neither will you pay for theirs. He slew of Edom in the valley of Salt 10,000, and took Selah by war, and called the name of it Joktheel on to this day. So these were the things Amaziah did. Now, the Valley of Salt, when you look this up, all right, let's look up a map of ancient Israel. And you notice that, oftentimes I'm pulling up the map, right, and showing different things here and there. And it's good. It's good practice. You should, when you're reading or studying, you should pull up the map. You should pull up the geography and try to get a visual in your head of, what exactly it is that where are these locations? What are you looking at? Because these are real places and it's important to know this. All right, cool. So when you look at the map of Israel, you have Ammon on this side, right? You have Moab over here, and then you have Edom down here. And then you have the Dead Sea over here. And this was also known as the Salt Sea, all right, because of its high concentration of salt. Therefore, it couldn't support life within it, and that's why it was also known as the Dead Sea. And so you can imagine the this area, where was it? The Valley of Salt would have to probably be somewhere around here. And in fact, if we look up this in another translation, see how it's worded here. So here they're all Valley of Salt, Salt Valley. So let's look that up here. Salt Valley, and let's say Israel. So it says here, the Valley of Salt, a valley in the Bible that is thought to be located in the region of the Dead Sea in Israel, right? And it would make sense because that area is also known as the Salt Sea. Now, the thing about this is that it's called a valley because you can imagine this body of water is not on the same level as the land, meaning you got to descend. Like when you get to the edges here, you probably have to go down, right, into like a lower ground level before you have the water over there. So you're seeing this is like one depiction over here. Here's an example here, right? So you have the body of water, and then you have this sort of ascent over here, and then the rest of the land. So you can imagine it being something like that, where you got to go down, and then you have the water here. Cool. So anyway, Amaziah, right? He basically takes down Edom. He takes over that area. Now, when you look into the word Selah over here, or Selah, they have it as another name for Petra, right? But it's known as some territory in Edom, right? Perhaps an early name for Petra. Okay, the rock city of Idumea. So the important takeaway here is that he basically subdued the Edomites and took over their territory there, and then renamed it. Okay, as you can see here, Joktheel, which I believe when you go into that, here it says the blessedness of God. Cool. So Amaziah does this, right? Verse 8, then Amaziah sent messengers to Jehoash, right, otherwise known as Joash, the son of Jehoahaz, son of Jehu, king of Israel, saying, come, let us look one another in the face. Now, this doesn't mean, he wasn't saying, come, let's go to dinner, let me look you, I'm gonna look across the table into your eyes and you look into my eyes. Look one another across the face, meaning basically to come into battle. So you can imagine how when one nation goes against another, the battle array, they're set facing each other. Okay. So in other words, Amaziah, his head was getting a little big over here. And Jehoash, the king of Israel, sent to Amaziah, king of Judah, saying, the thistle that was in Lebanon sent to the cedar that was in Lebanon. Now, let me pull up here so you can see what a thistle looks like. So this is basically what it looks like. It's pretty small, right, in comparison to something like a cedar, right? Cedar tree, or we can even say cedar from Lebanon. Lebanon. Right. So you can see here, even if you look up a cedar tree, you can see what it looks like, and even just looking here at the stem, it's a pretty strong standing right there, right? So in Joash's response, right, he says it in sort of a saying, right, which is to say that he said the thistle which was in Lebanon sent to the cedar that was in Lebanon, saying, "Give thy daughter to my son to wife." And there passed by a wild beast that was in Lebanon and trode down the thistle. And the point here is, you're out of your league. Okay, that's basically what Joash is saying to Amaziah. You're out of your league. You're like a thistle, this small thing, asking for the daughter of a cedar tree, and here it is. You can't even survive. Like you get stepped on by a beast and you're cooked. You're done. So in other words, not so plainly, this is the response that Joash was giving Amaziah, saying, "Don't get carried away." Verse 10, "Thou hast indeed smitten Edom, and thine heart hath lifted thee up. Glory of this, and tarry at home. For why shouldest thou meddle to thy hurt, that thou shouldest fall, even thou, and Judah with thee?" So, yeah, you just took down Edom, and now you're feeling tough. You're feeling like you're the man. But enjoy that. And just chill out. Don't you looking for trouble? You barking up the wrong tree. You're gonna let this big head that you got come and get you in trouble. Now you're gonna get cooked, and the rest of Judah with you. But Amaziah would not hear. Therefore Joash, or Jehoash, king of Israel, went up, and he and Amaziah, king of Judah, looked one another in the face at Beth Shemesh, which belongeth to Judah. Once again, it's not just Joash and Amaziah, and they're just standing there, one in front of another, just looking at each other. And you'll see why in a second. And Judah was put to the worse before Israel, meaning they got beat. So clearly it wasn't just a one king against another. They brought their armies. So Judah ends up taking an L, and they fled, every man to their tents. And Jehoash, king of Israel, took Amaziah, king of Judah, the son of Jehoash, the son of Ahaziah. The first Jehoash here being king of Israel, northern kingdom. He ends up capturing Amaziah in this battle. Amaziah, the son of Jehoash of the southern kingdom, who was the son of Ahaziah. So he ends up capturing him at Beth Shemesh and came to Jerusalem. So he captured him, and then he continued down to Jerusalem and break down the wall of Jerusalem. Because remember, Jerusalem was a fenced city, like a defense city. So he breaks down part of the wall from the gate of Ephraim onto the corner gate, 400 cubits. And he took all the gold and silver and all the vessels that were found in the house of the Lord Yahweh, and in the treasures of the king's house, and hostages, and returned to Samaria. So he came in there and ransacked. He took a lot. He took the gold, he took the silver, he took hostages. But, as we'll read here and we'll find out, it doesn't seem that Amaziah, the king of Judah, was one of the hostages that was taken. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoash which he did, and his might, and how he fought with Amaziah, king of Judah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Jehoash slept with his fathers, and was buried in Samaria with the kings of Israel. And Jeroboam his son reigned in his stead. So now, going back here, now Joash, or Jehoash, is now dead, or as mentioned here, and you can see his son, right, Jeroboam, or Jeroboam, how you want to say it, but the second, comes into power, and he overlaps just a little bit with Amaziah. And Amaziah, the son of Joash, king of Judah, lived after the death of Jehoash, the son of Jehoahaz, king of Israel, 15 years. And the rest of the acts of Amaziah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And they made a conspiracy against him in Jerusalem, and he fled to Lachish. It's ironic or interesting, because they made a conspiracy against his father. And then he came into power and he slew them, the conspirators. And then another, conspiracy was made now against him. So he ends up fleeing to Lachish, right? And see if that's, where is this? Maybe it's not highlighted on this map over here, but you can always feel free to type it up, right? But it's within this region over here. So in any case, he flees over there, but they sent after him to Lachish and slew him there. And these are probably like assassins, hired hitmen, whatever the case is. So while he's over there in Lachish trying to lay low, he probably got poisoned, shot, stabbed, caught up somewhere, and they got him. And they brought him on horses, and he was buried at Jerusalem with his fathers in the city of David. And all the people took Azariah, which was 16 years old, and made him king instead of his father Amaziah. So now Amaziah was succeeded by his son Azariah, which is here. So this Azariah, as you can see, otherwise known as Uzziah, and it's actually look up his name here. So you have Azariah, Yahweh has helped. The son of Amaziah of Judah, and king of Judah himself for 52 years, also Uzziah. So when you hear Uzziah, that's the same individual here. So they ended up making him king right at the age of 16. He built Elath and restored it to Judah. After that, the king slept with his fathers. It doesn't mean here, right? Verse 22 is just a quick saying about one of the things he did, right? It doesn't mean that in all his reign, he comes up into power at 16, he built Elath and then dies at 17. That's not what it's saying here, okay? In the 15th year of Amaziah, the son of Joash, king of Judah, Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel, began to reign in Samaria, and reigned 41 years. So similar to what I mentioned here, during the 15th year of Amaziah, this guy right here, that's this line, this part right here, that's when Jeroboam II came up into power. So that's what it mentions over there. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord Yahweh, Jeroboam is being, right? So Jeroboam II here. He departed not from all the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, which is the original Jeroboam, who made those idols, who made Israel to sin. He restored the coast of Israel from the entering of Hamath onto the sea of the plain. And this would be somewhere north, right? Because you have Hamath, which is, okay, the spellings here are a little different, but maybe it's this one, which is Hamat. But anyway, you have Hamath, which is more north. This guy, Jeroboam II, restores that. There we are. According to the word of the Lord Yahweh, God of Israel, which he spake by the hand of his servant Jonah, the son of Amittai, the prophet, which was of Gath-Hepher. So this Jonah is the actual Jonah, the prophet Jonah, right? The one in the book of Jonah. That's him. And when you go to Jonah 1:1, it tells you that he was the son of Amittai, right? The prophet. What's interesting though is, it's pretty apparent that we don't have all the writings of Jonah, right? When you read the book of Jonah, it's about 4 chapters or so, but that's focusing on Jonah and the Lord's message to Jonah concerning Nineveh. However, Jonah had prophesied about many other things too. One example being this, right? And obviously more details that we don't have. But when you look into the scriptures, as far as at least I'm aware of, there's very few mentions in other verses of Jonah. I think it's probably one of this and in the book of Tobit, make mention of Jonah. However, this is enough to give you some idea about around what time frame Jonah would be living in, right? Because Jonah here was either around or prior to this time we're reading about in 2 Kings. So that's where is this guy? Around the time of Jeroboam II, right? So right around this time period, Jonah was either around this time or prior to this time. But we know that he wouldn't be necessarily after, or come on the scene after this time, or else it wouldn't make sense saying that this was something that Jonah spake if he wasn't around at this time. Verse 26, for the Lord Yahweh saw the affliction of Israel, that it was very bitter. For there was not any shut up, nor any left. The shut up meaning, like bond, not free, right? Nor any left, which would be the free, nor any helper of Israel. So there was nobody that could help Israel, looking at the affliction that they were in. And the Lord Yahweh said not that he would blot out the name of Israel from under heaven, but he saved them by the hand of Jeroboam II, the son of Joash. So the Lord didn't say he was going to destroy Israel, right, and blot the name out from under the heavens. So looking on the affliction and the stuff they were going through, he had mercy and had Jeroboam deliver Israel. Now the rest of the acts of Jeroboam and all that he did, and his might, how he warred, and how he recovered Damascus and Hamath, which belonged to Judah, for Israel, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? So Judah had basically been able to make it to take up those territories. And when Jeroboam II came up into power, he basically recovered those back to Israel. And Jeroboam slept with his fathers, even with the kings of Israel, and Zechariah his son reigned in his stead. And that brings us to the end of the book of 2 Kings, the 14th chapter. And so, Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.